Okay, Loki's back are helping. He's like, that would be fun. Can we get that? It's probably an SNL or something. There's a comment somewhere on YouTube. I swear we're gonna get to the video about Christopher Lee could read his grocery list and you listen. It's like, yeah, and I'm like, I'm sure that exists. I'm sure somewhere Christopher Lee reads his grocery list and everybody's like, it's so beautiful. You're buying eggs and milk? Oh my God, it's so beautiful. Because he had one of those voices. He had one of those definite gifts. So we have been reading, because we finished Lord of the Rings. Been reading. And I had been reading this while reading Lord of the Rings, so it's kind of like a nice segue into it. And it's not Lord of the Rings. Do not go out and get this and think that it is going to be something to do with Lord of the Rings and hobbits and Gandalf and everything. It's not. It's the legends, and his son says that he retold them so much as he more than translated them, which makes sense. Sometimes translators will actually do that because remember, he was a professor of Old Norse. Sometimes you're better off just retelling the story and understanding it and trying to pick the best words in your native language than you are of direct translations. It's kind of like Google Translate versus someone that can actually speak the language. I got back. Ooh, that's good. Never thought of that. So we've just been having a really good day. Going to read the Tolkien, listening to music, a little light exercise in, doing the candle again, and it came up that Odin's the one I've always had with the music. He's the connection I have to music, which is good. So he's happy. I keep looking at him, making sure. I'm like, and he's like, "No, my dear, it's your free day. Do as you wish." So I can listen to music and drink coffee all day. So I get Sunday off. Yay, kind of. I mean, I'm making a video, but you guys know what I mean. Um, and I did have temptation today. I was like, I feel so good. I want to go get a hot dog because I feel so good. And then I'm like, we literally made stew last night. For 2 hours, we worked on a stew. And fast food just has such a pull for me that I'm like, I'd rather go have fast food than a beautiful stew we worked on for 2 hours. What is wrong with me? Um, it's like I told you guys, it's the one thing I'll always have in my life. Some people it's cigarettes, some people it's alcohol, some people it's whatever. For me, it's always going to be fast food. It's always going to be like, oh, I need to go out. I need to go get this thing. Now, if the inverse was true and I could make fast food in my oven and I could go out for stew, it would be the same thing. Maybe it's just straw going out. I don't know. But we'll be doing pretty good today. We'll be hopefully having that stew because Odin was kind enough. He said, dear, you have made it over 2 weeks. I know that if you go today, maybe you'll go one more day after. But he says you can go if you like. And I said no. I said I'll save it. And I said I realize that fast food money is not grocery money or not whatever money. And I said I will save it. I said I'd much rather save it and then go out and get, like, say, some cheese or go out and get something else. And I want both, but I can only have one. And I said, we can have another spread. We can have, like, a little bit of cheese and some crackers and, whatever, live a good life. So, we're doing pretty good today and we're just relaxing. And Loki's still here and Loki's very content to be here. And Loki's just really happy and kind of basking in the energy. Because it's the second day where it feels like there's this clean, good energy coming through and sweeping everything else out. I mean, it's truly a blessing. It just feels like everything bad is being swept away, and all this good, clean, healing energy is coming in. And I've been working on this house for decades because I would always tell my parents, and my parents just thought I was nuts because remember, they weren't pagan. There's something wrong with the energy of this house. And they'd be like, no, there's not. What are you talking about? It's a nice house. And I'd be like, there's so much sadness that was in this house and so much darkness. You could have, I called it the Batcave because you could have every light in this house on and it would still see tremendously dark. Now the walls are darker wood and stuff like that, but it was not the physical darkness. It was some kind of like spiritual darkness that I wasn't in any danger, but it was just this kind of depression that kind of hung onto the property, and now it looks lovely. The outside looks like I painted the house. I mean, it hasn't transformed anything. It's like the spiritual sense of the house. and it looks alive again if you see it from the outside. So it's really nice. It's a blessing. Um, and we're just going to have a nice day of just taking it easy and having coffee and not having to worry about the future right this moment and, reading, listening to music. And Loki's here as well because we'll have stew. We're debating whether or not to make the last packet of biscuits because those are good biscuits. And I know it's corny, but I make it. You take the biscuit mix and you make it into a heart shape, and we cook it in the oven, and it cooks up fine. I don't do it the way they tell you to, but you don't always have to follow the recipe directions. I learned that from working in a kitchen. That it really doesn't matter as long as it's you know try it, and if it doesn't work, then you adjust the recipe. But we've been blessed so far because Loki's been good, and Loki's like, I would like some bread. So we might have in like the very last of that weird pudding mixture I made that it's more like a sweet soup, but it's still pretty good, and we'll have the stew, and we will be hearing this. I don't know if I told you this recording. Be reading this, and since you should be hearing this read out loud like in a tavern, I'll be hearing Christopher Lee in my mind read this because he has that glorious voice that everybody's like, really? He has a really pretty magical voice. I want to listen to him all day. He has one of those amazing voices. If he uses it to his full power, if you've listened to a lot of his recordings, and sometimes you can tell he got like a little like, meh, I don't have to. He has to be on point, but usually he is because it's Christopher Lee. So we'll be hearing Christopher read this, and we'll be just taking the day off and having another day of celebration of just being with the gods and, life being fairly good. So, if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.